My name is Matt Hopkins. My title is software developer. I've been with Zero Wait State for a little over 9 years. I've worked extensively with writing Java-based process extensions and web applications to automate Oracle's Agile PLM system. Uh, these applications run the gamut. Some were simple automations, such as setting object attributes and updating tables. Others were more complex applications, such as a BOM comparison user interface and creation of Agile Web Service extensions. So Attribute State is a customization framework which we created for Agile PLM. And it's a product that's configured via a spreadsheet that's stored within Agile PLM's file vault, which provides a lot of flexibility. And that rather than having to go search for a configuration file that's stored in the file system of the Agile server or stored in a Java jar file somewhere, you just have to go to the Agile file vault, check out the spreadsheet, make changes, and check it back in. One thing that we found when we were writing process extensions for Agile is that we discovered a lot of redundancy, both in the coding process of creating a process extension and within the code itself, and that there was a lot of boilerplate code that went with every process extension. We also found that each process extension was its own mini project that you had to maintain and source control and keep track of, which got tedious quickly. So Attribute State took an approach of using configuration over coding, where simple automations such as setting attributes, clearing attributes, updating object table rows can be done with one-liners in a configuration spreadsheet. And if you need access to the power of the Agile SDK for more complex process extensions or automations, you have that available to you. It uses a scripting language called FreeMarker, which we feel is a simpler alternative to Java and Groovy for creating these automations. We feel with training, our customers can learn to use FreeMarker on their own and create their own automations. Automation of legacy on-prem PLM applications tends to focus on using an extension framework, which is provided by the PLM system, to plug in code which you have written to perform the automation. Typically, an on-prem PLM system will provide well-known extension points, such as events within the system or menu picks within the system, which allow you to call your automation to perform tasks or extend the functionality of the PLM system. A cloud-based PLM system, on the other hand, typically does not provide such extension points, but it does provide a REST API, which can be used to perform actions within the system. So when we're automating a cloud PLM system, we typically take an approach of having a service which will then call into the API of the cloud PLM system to perform automations and customizations. Cloud PLM systems such as Propel PLM, built on the Salesforce platform, do have tools such as Flow and Process Builder to allow you to create automations as well, so we can leverage those frameworks when they're available. DocState is a content generation framework, which allows creation of reports, REST services, and integrations for Agile PLM. It can be accessed either over HTTP, HTTPS for on-demand content, reporting, and services, or it can be triggered by the Agile PLM event framework for services which need to run in the background to perform actions. Supported methods of delivery of content for such services that run in the background are HTTP, HTTPS, email, files written to the file system of the Agile server, messages queued to a JMS queue, or REST or SOAP services called. DocState also has the ability to connect to almost any database to perform queries or updates to pull data in for content from databases. One other thing that DocState provides is the ability to run arbitrary custom Java code. So if none of the out-of-box capabilities of the tool fulfill the need, you can plug in custom code to perform actions that don't fit within the out-of-box capabilities of DocState. DocState provides a lot of benefits over traditional Agile customizations to produce content or create services. One of the benefits is that all of its configuration is stored within the Agile system itself, so it's very easy to modify content templates and doc-state configuration by checking out the files, making changes, and checking them back in. It also requires a lot less code to create a service or a report than it would require with traditional Java customization techniques in Agile, saving you time and money. Another great benefit of DocState is that it provides several out-of-box connectors to perform common tasks in content generation, such as sending emails, writing files, putting messages in queues, or calling REST and SOAP services. It can connect to almost any database to allow you to integrate with legacy data in databases within your organization. And if none of those fulfill your needs, it can also call any custom Java code to allow you to plug in third-party libraries and utilize those from DocState. Well, probably the biggest challenge of an integration project is getting the key stakeholders and subject matter experts involved from the customer side that are needed to understand the requirements of the integration, any existing integrations or nuances of that existing integration, and also having them available for testing of the integration as we move from the requirements gathering phase to the implementation. If the integration, as I said, is already existing and we're supplanting it with a new integration, sometimes that existing integration is a black box, which the customer does not know that much about. And that is a challenge to re-engineer or reverse engineer that black box to understand what it does in order to implement our new integration. The real key to understanding an integration and to getting a successful integration is the data mappings and transformations. Automation projects share a similar challenge with the integration projects in that getting the key stakeholders and subject matter experts from the client involved to help you understand the nature of the automation, its requirements, and also testing automation once it's developed can often be tough due to competing projects and resource requirements that the customer has. So really making sure before you start working on it that you nail down time with the client to have them available for requirements gathering testing sessions really can make the difference between automation project going well or not so well. A lot of times when you're working on creating automation, you may be replacing an existing one, so the source code may not be available for that, and that can take additional time to perhaps decompile existing Java code or track down people that know how the automation works so you can make sure that you understand all the nuances of it. And that can be tough if you don't have the existing source code available to understand what that automation does. So one of the things that we found with our attribute state product is that can mitigate it to some degree in creating automations, and that one challenge is when you create an automation, getting it deployed can be tough, especially in a customer environment where there's a lot of infrastructure requirements or you have to work with an IT department to get it deployed. Product like attribute state can be installed once and then the configuration is done within Agile PLM itself, and that saves you time of having to deploy the automation each time you make a change to it. The cloud environment is a lot different from an on-prem environment in that it's very services and API oriented, in that rather than the state products being installed in an on-prem system where you install it in a particular location, configure it, it runs in an on-prem system. Really, our cloud versions of the state products are going to exist like other cloud applications as services. So our vision is to have what we would call a cloud-based integration and service hub where we can configure products such as attribute state or doc state for Agile PLM, those will be redefined in the cloud as services that our customers can call into to make use of to perform an automation or generate content or trigger an integration. One of the things we can do to cut costs for customers that are cost-centric is have a cloud version of this hub that's shared with multiple customers or multi-tenant, and that enables them to take advantage of cost-based sharing of resources to make the cost of these services less. If a customer has requirements where they don't want their data shared or they don't want to have their data flowing through cloud-based services, we can also install a on-prem or private cloud version of the service hub for them that they can then use just internally or just only for their particular system to fulfill those requirements. Service and integration hub, which is multi-tenant, what that means is that multiple customers are using the same essential service hub to invoke services or trigger integrations. The data of each customer is separated by their particular tenant ID, if you will, or organization ID. So a customer, by nature of the way the system is designed, will only be able to see data that belongs to their organization. They won't be able to see data that belongs to another customer's organization. That ensures data privacy of a customer's data where one customer can't see another's. And this is done across the internet through sites such as Salesforce and other big cloud vendors, which have many customers using the platform at the same time and use organizations to segregate data. But for certain customers, particularly perhaps in the medical device where you have PII or information privacy, or perhaps in the military space where there are requirements to not have your data flow into the public cloud or not have your data stored in an environment with other clients' data, that's where we would take our integration solution and install that either in a private server on the cloud that's only used by that customer, or if necessary, install it within their own internal network to meet those types of security requirements. We've seen a lot of different areas for PLM automation over the years. We've been working on that within Agile PLM, and then more recently, systems such as Propel PLM or Oracle's PD PLM environment. So some of the big areas that we've seen are document management, which includes watermarking the document, such as a draft, or putting a revision number on it once it's released. One of the other big areas we've seen is content generation. So when a PLM system doesn't provide particular reporting capabilities out of the box, we can offer automation to provide some of those more advanced reporting capabilities that customers are looking for. Some of the other more complex automations that we've seen are part templates, where you would create a new part based on a template part, or deep copying of parts, where you copy a part along with its bill of materials, its manufacturers and compliance information, its relationships to other parts, and various other data that can be time consuming to do using the user interface of the PLM system. Revision management is another area that we see for automation, where if you have complex revision requirements, such as minor revisions, we can have automation that can help you with setting those revisions when those parts are added to change orders within a PLM system. And a couple of the other areas that we've seen are description generation, where descriptions are generated from attribution of parts. And one of the others is attribute validation and derivation, where you may have attributes on parts derived from other attributes, or derived from making service calls out to other systems. And of course, the big thing that a lot of our customers look for are integrations. as we move into the cloud world with PLM, we're finding that people want their PLM system to be a first-class citizen of the cloud, so it can integrate with other cloud systems. And some of the integrations that we've seen there are to issue management tools such as Jira or Zendesk. Product data quality is another area where we've seen integrations requested. Time tracking and project management systems also can tie into PLM for tracking projects that are related to product development and change orders within the PLM system. And synchronization between an on-prem PLM system and a cloud-based PLM system is another area where we've heard a lot of interest and are exploring that ourselves. In that when customers have an on-prem PLM system with a lot of data and they're looking at moving to the cloud, sometimes making that transition as one big jump is a daunting task. But if we can offer the ability to keep their on-prem PLM system synchronized with the cloud system and let them move incrementally to that cloud system, that can sometimes soften the blow and make that a more palatable task for our clients.